we're going to skip the formalities and intro and my saying and get straight to the discussion of the Final Fantasy 15 Dark World DLC. What might happen, what might not happen. By the way, if you like Star Wars and you like coffee, go buy yourself a Star Wars coffee mug at Walmart. They got the episode 7 stuff. I haven't drunk coffee in a long time. But anyways, back to the topic at hand. What's most likely going to happen with the Dark World DLC? And there's already a present timeline. Now, there's one of two things they can add in this DLC. One or two things that they can make this DLC. Now, since a Dark World of Final Fantasy 15 already exists, which is in the future when Noctis comes out of that island, after the 10-year stasis with Bahamut, I think, to be quite honest, the DLC will pander to the future timeline Noctis than it would the past one. Just because he wouldn't make sense. Because if with this DLC, you're going to have to add a story mode, as well as extra quests, extra missions, extra this and that. Now, there will be extra characters. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to have Aranea. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a Time Skip, Demon Slayer, Iris on your team. Because at this point, she's a grown-ass woman, and, it makes sense that she's a lot stronger since she hunts demons. I seen, the fan art of it, and it was pretty awesome, though, which is going to be used for the thumbnail, but the thumbnail shows her having a scar like Gladios does, because that's her older brother. But anyways, yeah. But anyways, nonetheless, it most likely be in the future timeline. But I think what they'll do is probably increase the roadmap. Meaning you'll be able to go the Lestalem, like the past timeline, go to, I don't think you'll be able to go to Altissia because this is still in the present or the future timeline. And we already know Leviathan has destroyed Altissia. That's why you can only go to past Altissia. So what I'm thinking, you'll be able to go to Lestalem, you'll be able to go to Kayam, you'll be able to go to every normal place. Hammerhead, well, Hammerhead was already, they're already going to establish you can go back to Hammerhead. Not right now. Right now, if you go to Crown City, you're stuck in Crown City, but I'm pretty sure they'll make it first. You go back to, let's see, Cape, I forgot what place is this? Cape something. The one with the seafood restaurant after you get from the island. You'll be able to go to that place. You'll be able to go to Hammerhead. But also, I think you would be able to go to Lestalem and all the other places that were in the past timeline that was in the Lucius map. So you won't be able to go to Tenebrae. You won't be able to go to Altissia. Which I think those are different DLCs that we're going to discuss. Those are different DLCs that are going to be discussed, Right now, I'm only focused on the Dark World DLC. Now, you will be able to go to Lestalem because that's where everybody is. All the immigrants from each part of the map, it lives in Lestalem. So Lestalem is probably a bigger place than it was in the past time, since everybody now in that world lives there. Even people that used to live in Crown City that, wasn't able to get out. But nonetheless, the only place that you're going to be able to access that's not in the past timeline, I would have to say, would be Crown City. And that's because, well, Crown City has everything to do with the Dark World, since the Dark World has something to do with Ifrit, Star Scourge, and Arden. So, of course, Crown City is going to still be accessible as well. I don't know if they're going to add any more areas. I really hope they don't, because there's no need to. Because the only place that's still around in Crown City would be the King's Throne. Will be the pretty much Regis's palace. Well, actually, technically Noctis, because Regis is dead, and it's technically Noctis's palace. Arden only hijacks the throne because he's not a real king. But that's another day, another time. But I'd like to be able to see more missions, more story mode. Maybe if they could import Verstal into like the same form that Ferrara says. Now, since the Star Scourge is still alive in this world until you defeat Arden, I mean, it's not impossible for Idolus or Ferralis to come back, beat Noctis, and that's how come Noctis ends up in the prison. You know, like, after, I think the Dark World DLC will come right after the World of Versus. After the World of Versus, you wake up on the ground somewhere, and, you know, you go, I guess you go to Lestalin first, or maybe not Lestalin, but you go to one of the other cities. It gets attacked. Probably the Chocobo village, wherever that village was. Wiz's place, you know, as one of the other last resorts. But then Ferralis tries to attack Wiz, and you gotta defeat Ferralis. But this time Ferralis beats you. Because it's not impossible enough to say he can't come back. Even though you defeat him in the Magitech Factory, as long as the Star Scourge up, all the demons will be back. That's just how the Star Scourge works. So it's like... So I'm pretty sure you get beat by Ferralis. I mean, of course you beat him in the game, like in a level, but in the story mode, Ferralis beats Noctis. Noctis goes to the prison for a little bit. Then Noctis gets out of the prison. I'm pretty sure at this point Noctis meditates in the prison so he could actually unlock the true power of the king. You know. But I think this would be a lot better. Maybe some hunts. Maybe you could put your level 70 to 100, level 100 hunts in this world, because since this is the last part of the game, it would make sense that you go to Lestalin, you go to the restaurants there, and you get hunts there like from let's see, from level 100 to, since we got a 100 level 20 cap already, since we already got a level 120 cap already it is, maybe get some level 150 boss battles. You know, like the demon wall that you just saw before, you know, leaving Cape. That's what I'm gonna call it, Cape, because I forgot the name of the city, but you know, where the seafood restaurant is. But anyways, I'm really hopeful that this DLC comes. It had to be right after World of Versus, because World of Versus would happen in the 10-year stasis with Noctis. That would happen with the 10 years, because Noctis has to prove himself to be the King of Light in order to use the power of the King of Light. And that's why he had to fight his darkness, just like every other king did. Like Regis passed it, Arden failed it, Izunia passed it, Morius passed it, and all the other kings of Lucis. Well, I mean not all of them, because most of them don't become a knight around. You know, there's only like 7 knights around, meaning that all the other kings weren't really worthy. Even though you have the same bloodline and they can use the king's power, they weren't really worthy of that power. Only a select kings were. Not even Arden was worthy of the power, which you know, was for obvious reasons. I made a theory video on that. Okay, which was actually, you could actually check out my theory video below this video about that. But yeah, Arden is not actually really worthy of the king's power. So, with that is, but anyways, I'm excited if they make this DLC. I mean, I'd like this map, to be quite honest. This will give more gameplay. And for people who play New Game Plus again, this will make the game playable. And this will bump the score, for next year, this could bump this game score up to 8. We don't have to just stick to 7. We don't have to just say 7. We could get to an 8. We could get better than, you know, I mean, they tied with Resident Evil 7. But this will please the fans. I guarantee this will please the fans of Final Fantasy if they give us all this stuff. The stuff that they should never have cut out. I understand, Tabata. You don't want no Etro and Lassie and Fal'Cie references. And that's fine. You shouldn't have, because this is Final Fantasy 15. But you can always change it around. You can always change the wording around. You know, because you did keep a Lassie. If you remember when you fought Ravis on Tyria, you look at Ravis on Tyria, that looks like a Seath. You just renamed it Demon. You know, that's all you did. It's a Seath. It's technically a Seath. But nonetheless, it's like, you know, that's what I don't understand, you know, why they couldn't do that. I mean, yes, it would be after the World of Versus DLC, which I call it the World Omen because Versus is over. It's now the World of Omen. You know. Though, I gotta be quite honest, Versus was a better concept. I think, to be quite honest, Final Fantasy 15 would have been better if they would have kept it as Versus, but, you know, just take out the Final Fantasy 13 stuff and just have it as, you know, Versus. I mean, Versus without the Final Fantasy 13 stuff. It would have been better, but I know they couldn't greenlight all that stuff because the game was way too dark. You know, children killing people because they hear voices. You know, demons slashing through human beings, blood everywhere when you get cut through a soldier. Bad things happen to Stella, and Noctis kills Stella, and Noctis goes way too far. But see, that I think that'd be a perfect DLC because then it'd test Noctis, because Noctis has to face his dark self in the world of Versus. And if you remember the Omen trailer, that's what Omen Noctis is. Well, it's Chaos Noctis, but I call him Omen Noctis. Omen Noctis was Noctis' dark side. That's why you see Omen Noctis killing Ludafreya. That's what Noctis would have turned into. That's why Arden, you know, that's why Arden was like, oh, you think 10 years is too long to live? You think 10 years is too long? Because, you know, Arden couldn't pass that stuff. He had hatred for Lucius Kylan, and they could see it. They could see it. Eos could see it. And to be quite honest, you think Eos is on the side of Ifrit. And no, she isn't. It's kind of like how Genova and Sephiroth's relationship is. Genova isn't completely evil. She done bad things, but she wasn't completely evil. Sephiroth just took control of her because Sephiroth is undiluted evil at the end of the Final Fantasy VII game. But it's kind of like that. Arden was the same. You know, Arden was once a good guy and then became nothing but pure evil, and then you had to stop Arden. But nonetheless, I'm hyped to see time skip Iris and what she could do. That's what the video should have been about. I want to see what Iris can do. I'd like to play as her as a character. And plus, they did promise us female playable characters. Where's our Aranea? Where's our Iris? You know? Hey, it'd be cool if they could even throw Monica into the fray, because she is a demon hunter. You know? It'd be progressive and it would work. So may the crystal be with you. And that's all my decision.